Welcome to Shift Change number 4. We have a full house, as you can see. We have some special guests to interview, and I'm really excited about talking about professional development. Chief Urban, I think he's used the tuition reimbursement quite a bit through his
Broke it.
through obtaining his master's degree. We have Miss Megan Yasasi and Liza Weisner here from the Corpus Christi Learning Institute. So we're going to get right into this. Really excited. They do a lot when it comes to professional development, so that's what we're here to talk about. Introductions.
Yeah.
Well, we'll start on the end.
Yeah. Sure.
And just how long you've been working for the city, and what do you do at the CC Learning Center Institute?
The Learning Institute.
Learning Institute.
So my name is Liza Weisner, and I'm the Learning and Organizational Development Manager for the City of Corpus Christi. I know, that is a long title, and it completely explains everything I do.
Yeah.
So my role is talent development. So anything that has to do with, as soon as you get hired onto the city, how can you take your career to the next level? How can you make things happen? That's my job. And I love my job. So I feel like I have the best job at the city. So we started the Learning Institute in 2014, and it was really an initiative where the city was seeing a need for us to streamline training. So not just thinking about, when you get into the fire academy, let's talk about fire. That, okay, after you graduate, this is what you're going to be doing to keep up with whatever certifications you need. No, we wanted to think beyond that. We wanted to think, how can we make people leaders, true leaders within our community, not only in their jobs, but beyond that. If they can see a career beyond the job they have right now, we wanted to prepare them for that. And that's why the Learning Institute exists. So we exist to bring the talented people of the city of Corpus Christi together so that we can all learn and become the best version of ourselves.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liza pretty much wrapped it up
Yeah.
in a
Like,
nutshell.
how do you follow that?
I think we're done.
Yeah.
But my name is Megan Isasi, and I am the Learning and Organizational Management Analyst for the City of Corpus Christi. And basically, I just follow Liza around and catch all the balls and say, I got it, Liza. I got it. I'm on it. Let's do it. But more important than that, we create leaders from within. And it's really important to us and to the community that we're producing leaders here, champions here at the city that are doing amazing things outside of the city as well.
So it's like every department in the city. You guys work with every department.
Yes.
From city manager.
All the way. So we
Yeah.
have 3,000 employees that we serve directly. So that's including you guys, and of course we have our new city manager here who's just joined us. So he just had his first executive leadership training 2 weeks ago. So that was really fun
awesome.
for him.
Yeah.
So we're really excited because I think what we've been able to develop, not only is it award winning, we're starting to see results in it. It's sort of training where you come in and we want to give you your fundamentals, your foundations of how can you just be a leader within yourself. So we give you a fundies, that's what we call them, your foundations, right? You got your fundies on, you got your foundation, and then once you're wearing your fundies, you're ready to go on, right? So you got to walk.
Foundation. That's
You got to
awesome.
walk before you run, right? So we give you your foundations, and it all starts with what we call our Supervisor Academy. So we have a Supervisor Academy, which you guys have been utilizing a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate the fact that you guys have really made it part of your leadership track for your teams. And then it moves on to the Management Academy. We have our Elite Academy, which actually Megan was pretty instrumental in trying to help us figure out how can we build an academy where it wasn't geared a lot towards training, but more towards internal personal fortitude. How can you, as an individual person, as a parent, as a coach, as an employee here for the City of Corpus Christi, maybe a spiritual leader out there in our community, how can you just be the best of yourself, a walking role model of what we're looking for in our community? And that's what the Elite Academy is about. And then, of course, we also have our Executive Leadership Academy. So we feel like we're really capturing all the different essences that have to do with a person's career, because we have to work, right? We have to do the work. And I always like to say, happiness loves to see me work. And so if I want to be happy, I better enjoy what I'm doing. So it's so important to enjoy what you're doing, and the only way you enjoy what you're doing is if you know how to do it well, and if you have the tools and the resources. And so that's what we provide.
Well, and as far, something that you have just said that we can definitely relate to is enjoying what you do. You talk to the majority of firefighters, and they'll tell you they just love doing this job. So anything to make them better. And, you guys were able to watch our last shift change we did.
Yes.
We did physical fitness.
You did.
And so we're working on the body, and then now we're
Yes.
going to work on the mind. So before we get any
I love
further, and
that.
you already mentioned a bunch of the courses, which is great.
Yes.
But before we go any further, I just have our little lightning round of some fun questions
Oh
just to
my
get to know y'all better. No
They
cheating.
didn't send
Yeah.
these to us ahead of
Yeah,
time.
Then
Oh
they don't
my
know
God.
what these are. And Chief Urban's in on these too,
Oh,
since he's a
man.
guest today.
Okay.
And we're gonna start with Chief Urban.
Oh, good.
So you'll all be asked the same question. So
Okay.
you get you're going to have some
Get
time
to
to
go
think
down?
about it.
Yeah.
I
But then
need
I'll
to
start
keep
on the
it
other side.
No,
Okay.
no, keep it
So, dream vacation destination.
Germany. I'd like to go during Oktoberfest.
That sounds like a great time. Megan?
Ireland.
We're going
Where's that
outside
come
of the
from?
United States.
Yeah, I have no idea why.
Okay.
Yeah, ask me why. I don't know.
Okay.
But it's Ireland.
The land of green.
Yeah.
I want to go to India.
That would be interesting as well. Liza, favorite book and your current book that you're reading?
Oh my gosh. So I'm currently reading a Joe Dispenza book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Sounds crazy, but it's awesome.
Good book.
And my favorite book is actually Atomic Habits. And actually, I can't decide. There's this other one called Deep Work by Cal Newport. Love that one too. So, gosh, there's so many. I
Yes.
could go on and on.
Yeah.
Megan just did a presentation about, I'm not going to tell them because that's probably your favorite now.
No. Actually, I didn't have that one
You
in
didn't have
mind.
that one?
so-
Okay, Megan did a presentation about this book
Yeah.
called Grit. And I read Grit, but after she gave her presentation, it reminded me of how
You wanna go
powerful
back
that
and read
book
it again?
is. So I know you asked me for one, but you got
So that's
this is what you
great.
get.
That's
What,
awesome.
You know, champions do more. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Overachiever. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to make
Definitely.
records of those,
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll put some of those recommendations on
Okay.
our minutes so that
Awesome.
it'll be.
Yeah. So the power of grit was definitely one that it is amazing and life changing. It will completely change the way you think about how you approach your life, and especially when you reach those failures in life. The grit that it takes to get you to the next level,
Sounds like they
to
wrote
that
it for
next
me.
mountain. Yeah, exactly. You need to read Grit if you haven't read it. The Power of Grit is really awesome. Right now, I am reading Soar by T.D. Jakes, and it's a leadership book. And he really puts it out there for just anyone who's looking to try to excel themselves with little amount of resources. So that's usually everybody's excuse, right? That's usually everybody's excuse. I don't have the resources. I don't have what I need to make millions of dollars or to be this amazing leader. And so the whole book is based on what can you do to be the CEO of you? What are you doing to amplify yourself
That's good.
with what you do have? So Soar by T.D. Jakes is one that I'm currently reading, and Past that I recently just read was Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey.
Oh, I love
Oh,
Dave
yeah,
Ramsey.
he's
that
good.
guy's awesome.
And if you don't know, the city has a program called Smart Dollar where we're helping our city employees with their finances. And the
That's
Dave
awesome.
Ramsey program has been so important in the success of our employees. Our employees are saving over thousands of dollars in their accounts. They're, cutting down debt from thousands of
great.
dollars, cutting up credit cards.
Yeah.
I
Really
mean, it
awesome.
has been so awesome.
We thought we were going to get like 20 people. We had over 100 people
Apply.
wow.
sign
Yeah.
up for this. And
Well, with
so
Financial piece?
for,
Financial Peace
Yeah.
it's
University,
called
right?
Smart Dollar.
Okay.
So like
Smart
with
dollar.
your
Yes.
household, like if your household is everything's great there, then like work and everything else will just fall into
Exactly.
place.
And
right?
and that's I think you're getting it. The foundational principles here of what we're trying to do is we're not trying to do anything, that's not been done before. We're just trying to help you be the best version of yourself. And if your lifestyle is set up where you have no finance issues, can you imagine that translates into you having a great
yeah.
work environment, and then that translates into you doing a great job for the city. I mean, it's just perfect. So I think,
Yeah.
part of our goal here is just trying to figure out how can we inch everybody closer to being the best. And then Megan's the champion for this whole financial peace thing. I don't know if you want me to tell them.
Yeah, it started with my personal
Megan
story.
started with Megan's personal
I've been
story.
there. I've
We
been
needed
there.
her to go to school. There
Yeah.
was just so many things. I needed her to finish school. Plus, she was telling me all this stuff at home, and I was like, Megan. And then she's like, well, I have this debt. I can't. And I'm like, okay, we got to figure out your finances because you can't use that as an excuse. So as she was studying that, I started to realize there's so many other city employees who are in the same boat where they have to say, okay, am I going to pay my rent, or am I going to pay my tuition, or am I going to take that vacation because I really need a break, or and there's just all these opportunity costs, and we have tried to create an environment where there's no excuses. There's really no excuses for you not to go to school. And so when I saw Megan struggling with that, I'm like, she's ours, we're doing this for ourselves, but more important, I want her to be successful. And from that, we have created this program where we have city employees sending us messages where they've had meetings, had family meetings with their husbands and wives talking about the foundational principles we're teaching in Smart Dollar. They're taking them home. We had one city employee who he couldn't make it, and he asked if he could send his wife in his place so that he wouldn't miss the information.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great.
That is great,
That is.
changing families, not just changing the employees' lives, but it's all around, helping them see that they can be they can all be great. I'm getting emotional about it. It's so awesome, right?
It's
It's
so
like
good.
that.
If you guys could hear the stories and the
Oh, I know.
testimonials,
I can imagine.
oh my gosh.
I
It
can
is
imagine.
People who just they you know, you have to make $1,000 within a month, and Dave Ramsey, he gives you
It's like the
so
emergency
what you gotta
fund,
do,
right?
you
He
gotta
makes
sell
you- he
everything
makes you-
until the kids think they're getting sold,
He's
right?
hardcore.
So he makes you
He's
figure
not
it out,
messing around.
and you see people just completely change, you know, because they're realizing, wow, my light bill was so much more. Now I did a bit of research, and now I'm paying half, or whatever it is that they thought that they couldn't do. Now they're being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
really
we're going to
great.
put that course on the list of courses
Yeah.
as well.
And I think enrollment is going on right now.
Yes,
Yes.
for the
Okay.
next
For
class.
the next cohort.
And
So,
what's it called again?
Smart Dollar.
Smart Dollar.
We're going to have a lot of
Yes.
notes on this one.
Yes.
Yep.
It's a
Ah.
4 week. It's a 4. You take 4 classes in 4 months. It's really fantastic.
Excellent.
Chief Irvin, favorite book and current book you're working on?
Well, I have to follow all that.
Hi.
just
Try your
realized
best.
we're still
Try your best.
Just give us a book.
Yeah, just
So my favorite book actually was Theodore Roosevelt by
Oh,
Edmund,
yeah.
what was
Yeah.
his last name?
Edmund Morris.
That's it,
Yeah,
Edmund
so
Morris. That was
he had
actually
the
by
3
far,
series, yeah.
it almost reads like fictional until you
Yeah.
actually read
Oh.
about Theodore Roosevelt. You really,
It's really good
you
books.
would think you're just making stories up, but very motivational. Lots of quotes. Very quotable person. So that by far my favorite book. This is kind of odd. He said when I'm currently reading. So it's Republic of Texas and its Flora and Fauna. It was written by a German immigrant scientist during the Republic of Texas time, and so it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a history kind of geek when it comes to that time
Yeah,
period.
you're a
so
different breed for
that's
sure.
He would have
That's-
been
that's
good
what
at
I'm
the
currently
botanical
reading.
Gardens
It's-
when we went over there
Yeah.
for a little activity. You would have been good for that.
Oh, yeah?
The flora and fauna at the botanical gardens. That would have been good.
All right, well, last one. We're going to start with Megan, so she gets to answer first on this one. We would never advocate that you go back into a fire, into your house if it was on fire. But if your house was on fire and all your family's out, all your pets, kids are out, and you could go back and get one thing. We would never advocate this.
Oh my gosh.
We would never advocate this. What would that one thing be?
Oh my goodness.
This is so hard.
You got 5 seconds.
Honestly,
It can be anything.
honestly, this is gonna sound kind of crazy, but when I'm at church, I take tons of notes on everything that he's saying, or at least I try. Especially on my phone or whatever I have, I will pull it out and take tons of notes. And for me, those notes are the things that I refer back to when I'm having a hard time, or when it rains, it pours, right?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And those notes are the things that are my foundation, are my fundies. Those are my fundies. So without
You
those,
got to get your notes.
I have to go back and get those notes so that after the fire, when my house is burned down, I can look at those notes and say, it's going to be okay.
Exactly.
It's going to be all right.
Got a
My
plan.
wife's
Yeah.
Bible is full of notes. Just like
Yeah.
don't. Some people are real scared about writing in it or anything like that. Hers is just covered with all kinds of
Mark
insider.
it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Liza?
This is an easy one for me. I actually would not go back. Yes, I actually recently, and Megan's probably can tell you, I recently went through this whole thing where I digitized my whole entire life. And so
Yeah.
Megan's talking about her,
My notes.
I call it your life book.
Yeah.
Because everybody has a life book. You either have a journal, or you have albums of pictures, or you have things that if something happened, like that's your lifeline, right? And so I had this moment where I was thinking, gosh, you know, sometimes I'm traveling and I need my life book. I need my notes, or I need whatever, my vision board, or I need whatever it is. And I thought, what am I doing? Like, we live in an age now where you can digitize all this stuff. So I've completely gone digital with everything. And so it's all in
Good
the
for
cloud
you.
now.
Yeah, it's in the
I
cloud.
took
It's there.
pictures of my whole life book.
There
and
you
so
go.
I actually would not go back, and I actually read another book, the life-changing thing, like the Marie Kondo, the whole concept of being tidy.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And it really taught you, when you see everything in your house, does it
Minimizing
spark
a bunch
joy?
of that stuff.
And so we went through that whole minimalist lifestyle where we actually live a life where if everything was gone, I would be okay because
Wow.
I don't mind starting all over again. So and I think it's freeing, right? I feel free.
Oh,
So
yeah.
It
great
is,
question, and
absolutely.
I'm good.
You're
I don't
good.
need anything in there.
Well,
As long
Chief
as my
Irvin,
family's out.
Anything that you're going to go back and get?
Like pretty much whatever's in there, it's not really that important. But I mean, there are some records and pictures, but those are kind of in a fire safe. So
Oh, you're
Whatever,
serious.
whatever
going
you
after-
answer after her is
I
going to
don't
sound
know.
like
Next time,
you're
soul
like,
material.
this
this
guy's
time.
like,
I don't wanna go last
Madonna.
My His plant. Maybe there's a plant.
Hey, there's
He's so much more practical, though, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
all the records are in a safe.
Yeah.
Where's
Yeah,
my
they're
Wi-Fi
safe.
safe?
They're not much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, You know, on the website, and I had to ask, does the Learning Institute have a mission statement? I know that there's several little sayings, and the one that I like is it says, "Our mission, be inspired." Obviously, y'all can tell they are very inspired and motivational. And so, is there a mission statement for the City Learning Center?
Yeah.
And if so, can you talk on that for us?
Yeah, so of course our mission is to grow our city's leaders, and our tagline is "Growing City Champions." It's pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
And what is
hopefully
a
that
city
makes sense.
champion? So who are the city
A
champions?
city champion is anyone and everyone who says yes to the opportunity to make things happen for our community. So we have city employees, and we've all said yes. As public servants, the moment you signed that dotted line that said you were going to come and work for the city, you said, "I'm a city champion." So all city employees are city champions. But that also includes our citizens. We have so many citizens who are city champions, who are really and truly there to serve our community. Sometimes they come to city council and they're like, "No, they don't like that," you know? And then sometimes they're like, "Yes, you're doing a great job." Those are the city champions, the people who are voicing their concerns and the people who are celebrating our successes, the people who want this community to move forward. Those are city champions.
We had a good example of that with our award ceremony just a couple of weeks ago, where you had from
Those
11
young
years
kids,
Citizens, we
right?
had
Those
some
young
citizens in
guys.
there too.
College, yeah,
We're able to
stepping up.
recognize those, and that was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes.
Where does y'all's motivation come from? I'm gonna call Megan out here just on a quote that she had shared with me,
Love
and it really makes a lot of sense. It says, "You will never always be motivated. Instead, you must learn to be disciplined." Kind of the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. So where did you get that from?
Oh my
And-
gosh, you guys. You all inspired that, okay? Because when I watched the last shift change, I knew those guys were talking to me. They were. I wasn't.
right to you.
I wasn't doing enough. Yeah, I was not doing enough. And okay, yeah, Megan, you do Muay Thai maybe once a week, but why are you creating all these excuses, right? I think they talked about these excuses and all the things that you make up so that you don't have to go do the things that you know that you need to do. And when I started doing a little bit of research, I ran across that quote, and it made so much sense because motivation is temporary. Motivation and inspiration only last for so long. We can come in here and give high fives and be excited, and you'll walk out that door and you'll be motivated for a day, 2 days,
Sure.
maybe. But it's discipline that really gets you from level to level to level. Because without that discipline, you're really just riding on the feelings of what you're feeling that day. And discipline is what takes you the distance. It's long term.
It's more permanent.
It's more
than
permanent.
the
It's just
temporary.
like the power of grit says, right? Passion plus perseverance over an extended period of time is grit. That's what grit
Okay.
is. And that's where your discipline comes in.
And that doesn't just apply for working out; it applies in every
Life.
aspect
Pretty
of
much
your life,
everything.
just in general.
So
Life.
it's like your willpower, right? So
Yeah.
everybody like, "Oh, you know, I'm gonna go to the gym today," and then tomorrow you don't go. Well, what made you not go? What is it that you don't? What is it that you don't have? What is that motivation that you need so that whenever you don't feel like it, you're still doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the growth mindset and the fixed mindset is something that I think we actually touched on in City Champions this past year. So if anybody attended City Champions, they got to learn a little bit about growth mindset and fixed mindset. And when you think in terms of having a growth mindset, it's you're being intentional in your brain to train yourself to think, okay, maybe I am too old to go back to school, but I'm not the same person that I was then that I am now. And that's having a growth mindset. Somebody who has a fixed mindset would probably say, I'm too old to go back to school now. I'm not capable of learning anymore. My brain's already grown to the capacity it's going to grow to. That's it.
I'm done.
You know, I'm done. There's no way.
It's called excuse zone.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and that's a good example.
Life is the
Like
greatest
going back
excuse.
to school, you know, I'm going to ask Chief Urban, you know, where does your motivation come from? You decided after you had been a fireman for
Yeah.
a long time that you know, said, I'm going to do this, and
And
Went
he's
all
been
the
keeping
way.
us busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
With
did,
tuition
yeah.
reimbursements.
Tuition reimbursement, yeah.
So my motivation is just you know, taken back from an army saying, and you know, always improve your position, right? And that kind of, you know, has in the battle position, you're always improving your position. And so I you know, we go through our careers, and I didn't have any college credits until, you know, my mid-30s when I decided. Actually, it was about 35, you know, and battalion chief, and I decided, you know, I want to do a little better, and I started then. So I mean, I started later, and then it's just you get your mind on something. I'm big on long-term goals, right? I want to hit this in 5 years, and here's my plan to go through that. and then just hitting those little milestones in between. So it was, for me, my motivation was really long-term planning and having a good set goal. I wanted to have my master's degree when I was 40, and you know, so I started, and that was 5 years, and I had nothing at the time. So it was just, I broke it down into smaller tasks and just hit those little small things until I met each little milestone and goal, and just kept going. For me, it's long-term planning and goal setting.
I think you would agree, though, that the underlying thing is purpose, right?
Yes.
I mean, purpose for the overall picture.
Yeah.
So you have a career in fire, and I
Yes.
think that bigger picture of purpose and that meaning that you have
Yeah.
is what kept you going
Absolutely.
the whole entire time of your master's degree.
Yeah, and absolutely. It wasn't just, you know, the master's degree was a means to like I said, purpose. You know, I was moving up in the organization a little further than I really had planned on when I first started out, and figured I wanted to, you know, to be the best I could, and so there's degrees out there to help me further my worth to the department, and so I identified those that would, you know, develop me professionally, I guess, right? That's not just a term, right? Professional development. I identified that plan that would where I wanted to be, and this is what I needed to get there, and so far it worked, as long as I made sure I hit those small milestones.
And you did that, you know, working shift work and doing and never, I mean, never took a leave or any. I mean, you did it just like everyone that's out there working those shifts. You could do it. I mean, just
Absolutely, just like working out, right?
Yeah.
Just like going to gym, just like getting right. It is no different in education. There's no such thing as I don't have time, right? There's all kinds of time. There's time, you can find time in a day to go to the gym. You can find time in a day to do your studies. You can find time to do those things that is needed, and still have time for quality of life too. I mean,
Sure.
you still have time for your kids. What's that?
Prioritizing your time.
It
What's
is.
more
It is.
important?
Yeah. What's more important, and am I actually really utilizing my time like I can? And it's always there. You know, it's there.
Absolutely.
Liza, do you have anything to share with
To share about motivation.
for
He was
yourself?
He was
you
talking
know,
about
yeah.
time, and I'm like, "Ugh, I call myself a time traveler. I don't know why. Like, I really do feel like sometimes, and this is actually the reason why I'm reading this book by Joe Dispenza, because, you know, sometimes I'm in the flow. I call it, Megan knows I call it the flow, and I'm at work, and I feel like I'm just working, and it feels so good, and I'm just literally just, the time just goes by and I have no idea.
Flies by.
And I'm sure you all understand,
yeah.
like, when you're doing something you enjoy, and I love the work I do here for the city. But as far as motivation goes, you know, I always say it's, you know, it's fleeting. It's something, it's like a flash, you know, and it's great, but it has to, you can't just maintain on that. You can, it's like an adrenaline rush, you know, if you keep it up, you're going to get stressed, and, you know, you can't keep that up. You got to have something to keep you going. And so I call it your carpe diems. What are you doing every single day to just have your floor? Are you hitting your floor, and then, you know, you have your ceiling? So, like, for example, I'm a Spartan racer. So when you guys were doing the fitness one, I was like, oh my God, I want to learn from these guys, because I'm trying to be a Spartan, a real Spartan in real life, you know? So, which means I want to carry boulders that are like 100 pounds, and I want to just climb walls like no one's business, climb ropes. I want to just do all that, which means I got to do my burpees, my push-ups, and all that. So my floor is, can I do 10 burpees in a day? Or my ceiling is 100 burpees in a day. You know, that's a lot, right? But I track that. So every day I'm having my own wins, you know, my own personal wins. And the second thing I think is thinking about what you do in your life. And a lot of times we talk about time, not having time. And I say, you know, time, the trouble is you think that you do have time or you don't have time. Either way, you're right. Because at the end of the day, it's all up here.
Yeah.
It's how you think about it and what your priorities are. So I always think of 3 different things: energy, work, love. What are you doing to maintain your energy? If you think about the type of energy you have, and you're doing such great work, and you're doing, you know, you have intensity, and you're doing such a great job, you know, how are you being able to maximize your energy? So whatever that means, look, I want to be a, you know, world star Spartan racer. Let's just say I'm going to the world champions of Spartan racing, right? What does a world champion Spartan racer do to get ready, right? They wake up in the morning and they eat a certain way, and they do their push-ups, and they don't complain, right? And then again, I want to be a world-class talent development expert in my work. World-class. What does a world-class talent development expert do? They don't whine about reading books. They read them, right? And they don't whine about having to create curriculum. They do it, right? Yeah. And then for me, for love, I want to be a legendary lover of beings, you know? So when I think about that, I want to give eye contact, and I want to make sure Megan knows how much I love her, and I want you guys to know how much I love you, and I want my family to know how much I love them. And so what am I doing to inch myself closer to people seeing me as a legendary lover of beings, right? And not just humans, animals and plants and everything. So eating the right way, you know, being vegan, just understanding that the universe exists to support us and not to harm us. Anyway, so that's where I get my motivation from me personally. I don't try to get it from other people. I just think every day, how am I inching myself closer and closer to plus oneing every day? Like, yes, okay, I did that yesterday, but it's gone. How can I do the same thing today, and then the next day, and the next day, and then so when I stand here in front of you, and I'm with Megan in her office, and we're vibing over something, and we're all excited about it, you know, those are plus ones, and I can write that down in my journal at the end of the day, and I can say, you know what, today was a good day. So no matter what happens at the end of the day, maybe I don't wake up tomorrow. It's irrelevant. Today, I was the best at being Liza.
So all those plus ones, and it's similar to how Chief Urban had his they're like little victories
Yes,
along the way,
yes.
and that
Yeah.
can
Quick
kind of
wins.
maintain
Quick wins, yes,
that kind of
micro
maintains
wins.
that for that long term that
Yes.
we were talking about.
Yes, so like it's just like anything. Like if you're gonna make a goal to go somewhere, like if we're going to Colorado, we're not just gonna be like, okay, we're just gonna go. No, you gotta find a roadmap to get there, right? And every mile that you drive, you're getting closer and closer and closer, right? So you're getting there. So you know, you may never get there. Like I always say, like your best version of yourself should be something that, wow, when you look up there, you're like, oh my God, I could never do that. But yes, you can try. You know, you can try to get it. You know, we're not all perfect. But I eat donuts, you know. I'm just like this perfect person. No, I love donuts. I drive by Shipley's and I must get a kolache and a donut. Sometimes I get the
That's okay.
whatever donut
But
holes.
that's the kind of like resting on your laurels, you know. If you're somebody who, if I were to, it's one thing that I worry about is resting on my laurels of what I used to do, and I think about that, and I could be 60 years old and just be somebody who used to do something.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to be that way. I mean, I want to be able to continue to be successful and produce things, and that's one of the things that really motivates me as far for sure about the fire service is that I just think we can always be better, and so I'm always thinking about that and trying to.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I
Okay.
know.
So one of
So
the
am I.
things that I just really think
I need
for
notes.
us, I know we're like taking notes.
I need to bring a notepad so I can come back.
One of the things we always tell our employees when they come in, so I do coaching sessions with city employees, so we are certified coaches. So when they come in and they don't want to do a coaching session, the very first thing I say is, you know, you're never ever going to be exonerated from the work. You're always going to be working, which means you always need to be learning, because the world we live in now, 5 years from now, is going to be completely different.
The fire
Like
service
you guys
is
are
like
doing
that.
drone training now, so firefighting has gone beyond just driving your vehicle and showing up. Drones to help facilitate you guys doing your job better. So now you need drone operators. So you have to think about your job beyond the job you have today. So when people are like, oh, I got my degree, I got my job, I'm good, you're never going to be exonerated from the work
And
of
another
learning.
great example of that is like EMS, because that's a huge part of what we do. And what paramedics are doing now, as compared to 25 years ago when I got my paramedic, it's amazing.
Totally different.
I'm not sure that I could
Different.
even.
It's different.
Like the tools are different, the
Sure,
technology
technology,
is
you
helping,
know, all
the
the
right?
things, the techniques that they're using, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
These guys are, the young firefighters that are coming into the department they're just so much more knowledgeable now than I ever was at that age. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I think
continuous education is
Yes,
Yes.
man, alive.
is very important.
I think the common theme is being intentional, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you can think and think and think about all the things that you want to do, and then you realize you haven't won the lottery, right? That's what happens. You think, oh, what would I do if I win $1 million? And you're thinking about all these awesome things you're going to do, and then you're like, oh, I still got to
Didn't happen this week.
The next year, you're still wishing you won the lottery.
But it's about being intentional. So you think about you want to go back to school, you want to do more professional development, but you're just sitting there in your office. It's about being intentional and doing what you say you're going to do.
Absolutely.
Just
Like,
like,
what
the last
would that
episode.
person
It's like
do?
that's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what would that person who you're saying you want to be like do? Would they be
Sure.
sitting there
That's right.
saying,
Sure.
oh, I don't have time?
Yeah.
And
No.
is your 70-year-old self going to thank you for what you're doing right now?
Probably
You know
not.
what
No.
I mean? Because
I'm just kidding.
You talked about motivation too, right? And one thing I want to make sure, and it's just like your last episode when you talked about motivation, it's the same thing here. It's not linear and it's not consistent. And you have that pathway. You talked about having that route to Colorado, and sometimes you take wrong turns, and sometimes you veer off, and sometimes your motivation. And God knows I did that too with the weight loss and the education. I veer off, man. I have days, weeks, even a month where I don't have motivation. I lost progress and stuff like that. But the key is to maintain that focus and that intention
Grit
and
brings you back.
get some course correction and have some accountability and get you back on track.
I have to ask. So you, sir, were firefighter of the year. So tell us what kept you motivated so that you could win that award.
So I mean, it's just we get nominated for that. So that wasn't a goal. That wasn't a say I'm going to be firefighter of the year. But just being involved. I have a hard time saying no. And when my boss asked me to do something, 10-4. My other boss, Chief Rocha, asked different projects that I was working on, and eventually, I guess it was noticed. But there was nothing that I said I got to do this, and this.
Yeah.
But just trying to just be the best at where I'm at in the organization. We all have a job, and at every level, and we all have to know what our job is. And I'm always looking at that next level too. So that something happens to my boss, I'm ready to jump right in and do it. So just doing my job. I mean, and that's why it's tough to pinpoint what or why, but just doing my job.
It's recognition of outstanding work that was done in the previous year and in years before that. And Tony has done a great job going above and beyond. We have a lot of our members in the department go way above and beyond. And Tony was nominated. We looked at his work. It was just outstanding. It was more than just his job description. A lot of extracurricular, a lot of activities and programs that he does that are just above and beyond. And it was just outstanding work, and that was a recognition for him for that.
Well, we know he was helpful to us because we had to launch the performance appraisal system for fire.
I remember. Yes.
And he was right there in the trenches.
Yeah, that was another.
So,
that was a be
We're
there
still
at this
learning. We're
time.
still learning.
10-4, I'll be there.
Yeah.
And then I was, do it
Sorry,
again.
Tony.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Yeah, no, we got it done, and it was easier this next time. And I will say that the next time around it'll be even easier.
Yeah.
So it's getting
Good.
it's getting better.
Good.
It's getting better.
Professional development. We're talking about it. Whose responsibility is it? Is it the employer or the employee, or both? Anybody jump in there and
That's
tell
a
me what.
great question.
Well, I
Yeah,
just
tell
want to
me
start
what-
Liza off by
That's an
saying
easy one.
that
That's
an easy one, right?
we
Yeah.
really do consider ourselves the curators of your learning.
Yes.
So if you know what a curator is, we are the ones sifting through what are we bringing to the city and why do our employees need this. And so it's really our responsibility to know the culture of the fire department, the culture of the police department, the culture of engineering, the culture of HR, the culture of every single department here at the city so that we can properly curate what we're bringing.
Necessary. Okay, so you have to understand, we work for the city of Corpus Christi, and the city of Corpus Christi is made up of people, but it's also an entity. It's an organization, and the organization is only going to survive if it has the resources that are strong, and the resources are the people, right? So we already know what we need our people to be like, what they need to think like, how they need to work. So whatever seat a person's in, it doesn't matter who's in that seat. You're going to need to know certain things, and you're going to need to learn a certain way. So I would say it's both, right? So from our perspective, I really love our vision statement for the city, which is to become the benchmark city for the state of Texas. So what that actually means is that are you, as a city employee, right, as an individual, right? So we know that the city can be the best city, but as an individual person, are you doing your very best to be the best in your role? Can you go toe-to-toe with any other person in your role in the entire state of Texas? And if you are not doing that, or if you're not trying to do that, then you're not serving our vision for our city. So the professional development, is it the employee or is it the organization? Well, we're doing what we can. You can pretty much guarantee that we're making sure you're doing your very best. But on the side of the professional development of the employee, I mean, by the time you even come in, we do a really good job of bringing in talent that gets it. You have to be trying to be your best. So we already know coming in that you're trying to become your best, and so it's both. It goes both ways. We can't have you sitting in a seat and resting on your laurels, like you said. We cannot have that. We have to have people sitting in seats who want to take the city forward, who want to learn. Like, for example, firefighting, right? I always think, okay, what are they doing with firefighting in New York, and what are they doing in other countries? Some innovative technology or something. Like, who's going to go research all that, bring it to Corpus, so that we can become the best fire department in the entire world, Who's doing that,
What I say is, who's coming to Corpus to see how
Yeah, I love that. And that's the mission, right? So the point here is exactly what you said is, when we get the calls from other cities wanting to find out, what is this learning institute? What are you guys doing? Oh my gosh, this exists. What are you doing? We know we're doing something, because not only are we trying to create an environment where our organization is taken care of, right? So we believe very strongly in succession planning. You know, are we making sure that we know who's coming next and are they ready, right? We're not just like saying, okay, this person's retiring, let's just go find someone else. No, we're ready for them, right? We're ready for the next level of leadership. But also on the other side, we need to be helping our employees have that mindset of preparing themselves for the next level. Everyone needs to be leveling up. And that song just came out, right? And it's been so helpful for me because I'm like, yeah, we all need to level up, right? We all have to be thinking beyond the role we have. So it's both. Everybody has to work together.
So talking about that, we've talked about the motivation. Obviously, it's on the individual, it's personal accountability. On the city side, it's making sure that those programs are available. Somebody who's motivated, right? What programs are available within CC Learn?
The City of Corpus Christi Learning Institute. We have a menu. We call it a menu of services. So, and we intentionally call it a menu because you can go to a restaurant and you may want to eat a certain thing and somebody may not want to eat a certain thing. So the menu is set up in such a way where whether you want to get either it's a certification or you want to go as high as getting your PhD, there's resources for you. So starting off at the very beginning, of course, we do new employee orientation. And through new employee orientation, we give you the basics of being an employee at the city. The next thing we're able to do is provide you with training for your actual job, so job-specific skills. So if you're going into accounting or if you're in human resources, whatever tools that you need, whatever trainings that you need to fill those gaps that you may be missing, we have those available for you. So we have over 3,000 online courses available in a whole slew of categories, from business to software to compliance, safety, pretty much anything you can imagine, we have resources for you.
I know that.
And then we have over 40 classroom courses that we teach throughout the year. And that's just including what we have as open enrollment. We also have classes where, let's say, if you guys contacted us and you said, okay, actually you guys have contacted us.
Yeah.
So we have done some customized training for you. So you can contact us about anything that's going on with your departments and we'll customize a training and come and deliver it for you. Now those are not open enrollment. Not everyone can come because it's specific to your department. So we do that as well. So not only do we do classroom courses, the online programs are available. And when Megan mentioned that we're the curators, what we're trying to do is take away that feeling of, like when I was going to say go to the library, and I was like, who goes to libraries anymore? But not in a bad way, but like we don't physically go to the library. It's like imagine going to a place and you're like, okay, go learn, and they just let you go, and you're like, oh, I have no idea where to start.
Yeah.
And so the reason why we created these academies, the Supervisor Academy, the Management Academy, the Elite Academy, right, the best person, and then the Executive Leadership Academy, is to just take away all that pressure of you feeling like you have to come up with it yourself. And so we have those academies set up, but again, you have access to everything. So you can even go beyond those academies that we've set up for you. We also have our tuition reimbursement program, which is part of our education plan for our city employees. Every city employee gets $2,000 a year towards their education. And the fiscal year starts October 1st and ends September 30th. And I'm sure you know that very well. And every year it resets. You get another $2,000. You get another $2,000. And so anything that has to do with a certification, we have people who are interested in getting their project management certifications, their city manager certifications. So anything that has to do with education, bachelor's, master's, associates. Our GED program is free, so you don't have to pay for that. And then we also have our
internships.
So we have internship opportunities. So, and I guess this is beyond city, right? So we also provide opportunities to our citizens. So the Learning Institute actually does not only serve city employees, we also serve our community. So we're a monetized entity of the city. So not only are our city employees welcome to come to our trainings for free, we also provide the service to our citizens. They just have to pay a fee for the service.
Those are the classes that you'd see, like if someone's starting a business and they can attend a class. Is that like it?
We're not necessarily going to be teaching you how to start a business. But when you do start a business, chances are you're going to have employees, and you're going to need to know how to manage them, how to supervise them, how to manage them. So we work with companies like Walgreens. We work with the county. Okay. So I can mention many others. Peerless Cleaners is one of our customers. There's tons. 10X, Auction.com. So we have many customers that we work with within our community. And the reason why is because, when we get this call, grow the leaders in our community, that's not just our 3,000 employees. We're thinking, how do we make 300,000 people strong, right? And it all starts with, yes, our primary customers are employees, but when they leave, they're going to families beyond that, right? So how can we extend that? I know when we did our City Champions training, we do City Champions training every single year, and we train over 3,000 people because we also train citizens. Wow. And when we do those trainings, we always have a giveaway. And this past year, we had these planners, and we got this organization called Passion Planners. So they were so helpful to us, and they gave us these planners. They gave us over 3,000 planners. They shipped them here in pallets. It was crazy. I didn't even know what we were going to do with them. 3,000 planners. The warehouse was like, what? But we got these planners in, and we had city employees going, can I get one for my husband? Can I get one for my family? Because the information in there is so important, right? So, but then you need to know that whatever we're offering to our city employees, we're also able to offer it to the community.
Wow. And so these just aren't classes that say firefighter who works shift work, he or she could take these classes, do them all at the station.
Yes. So there's two opportunities. The Supervisor Academy is, I think it's 80% all online. You have to take one class, which is a 4-hour class, and that's what we call our Supervisor Boot Camp, and that's face-to-face. But the rest of it is all online. Management Academy is the same way. That one takes about 6 months to complete, but there's 3 classroom courses you have to go to, and then the rest of it is online. But we also have the Elite Academy, which is 100% online if you want it, or you can have it 100% in classroom, because we offer it in classroom and online. We also have what else do we have? We have our online trainings, but
Career coaching.
we have our career coaching that we can do with you guys. But so we're talking about your firefighters who may not be able to leave, right? They may not be able to leave the station to come to trainings, right? Because hello, they're here to serve, right? Protect and serve. And so the point of our creating a really robust online training option is because we know that there's going to be city employees who, and not only fire, right? So we have utilities, we have the guys out in the field who they're working during the day. They can't come here to a training. They can do the training at home. It's available to you 24/7. You just need your login to be able to log in and access it at home over the weekend, and you can access them from wherever.
And is this some kind of training that will actually, I mean, on a personal level, I'm sure it is beneficial. But say somebody is applying for the next position, and I guess this is kind of outside the fire department, but they're applying for a position above what they have right then. Sure. Are their employers actually, or are their bosses or whoever's making that decision actually looking at those classes that they're taking through the city and giving the same credit, I guess, for them as, say, if they went to Texas A&M or some other place and
well, all our training is credentialized. So we don't just create curriculum just because we thought of it at night. And we were like, oh, I want them to learn this.
And then we stamped it ourselves and said, approved.
No. So I'm listed as a faculty at Del Mar. And so whenever we have any new curriculum we develop, we run it through, they tear it apart for us, and then they tell us, okay, yes, you're good to go. So anything that you do with the Learning Institute gets credentialized through Del Mar College. So if you pull a transcript from Del Mar, as a city employee, as soon as you get hired, actually, you fill out a form, and it's a registration form to Del Mar. Right. So as soon as you get hired, you're a student at Del Mar. And so any training that you take with us, we automatically send your information there, and you have a transcript. So I know Megan just started back going to college, and she has actually do you have some classes that are?
I had 70 credits at Del Mar.
Yeah. So that's
from
counting.
The city classes?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you have to think.
A lot of them from the city classes.
Yeah. So you have to think in terms of somebody who's trying to go back to school. In fact, we have a brand new program we're getting ready to roll out for that. For our, what is it? Recapturing the dream. Yeah. So we're trying to bring back that brand. But anyway, the point is that anything that you do with the Learning Institute is not just training that we've come up with. It's something that any employer in any industry in the city of Corpus Christi, but not only the city, nationally, would be able to see it as a value.
And then I think one pitch that we always try to tell our employees is that when you do go for that promotion, or if you're transferring to another department, looking for another job in the department, those managers, those hiring managers are coming to HR to look through your file to see what have you done with the city, what have you done outside. As employees are completing things, they're sending things to us to put in their HR file. And then in turn, those hiring managers, they come and they check out the employee to see if they're a good fit for their department. And if whether you have things in there or you don't, something is being viewed by those hiring managers, and it's really important to your credibility and to whether or not you're going to get that promotion. So
there was a time when, we do career coaching, and when we do a career coaching session, we do a career coaching plan. So we create like a blueprint. What are you going to do a year from now? What are you going to do 3 years from now? Okay, 3 to 5 years. Where do you want to be? You know. And then after we talk about all of that, we create a plan, and that actually goes in your employee file. So we had a situation where a previous city manager, she was looking to kind of shake things up, and she wanted to see who are emerging leaders. she asked me for a list of who has done career coaching sessions, and she wanted to see their coaching profiles of what are their aspirations. And I can tell you, I can't tell you names, but I can tell you there's certain people who they had put on there that they wanted to be the next city manager, or they wanted to be an ACM, and they wanted to be at a certain level. And you have to imagine that you're not going to get to that level if you don't have someone to model. And the people who are up there, if they don't know that that's what you want, how are you ever going to get there if you're not able to see that? So I have to say there's so much value in not only thinking about your training as, oh, I could learn it on my own. I don't need to, I don't need to let the Learning Institute know. We always say, no, you need to let us know, especially if you're trying to move up in the organization. Everybody needs to know what you're working on so that it can help you as you're moving along.
So with so many, there's 3,000, and so firefighter may not know where to start. Can you tell me what, like, your favorite, because I know there's the 7 Habits. I mean, there's other.
Yes.
So what were some of y'all's favorites to if I want to take a class?
Yeah, you would start with that.
Yeah,
okay.
if I want to take a class.
You said
which
7
one's
Habits.
Yeah, is that
that's
your
the
favorite?
foundational class.
Yeah. Okay.
I think for life. There's actually 7 Habits. There's 7 Habits for families. That is how foundational that program is.
Wow.
So 7 Habits is a great program. In fact, when you take the 7 Habits course, every other course that's in the Elite Academy is built off of that. So 7 Habits talks about what are you doing? What are the 7 habits that the highly effective people do? And it's a book that was written by Stephen Covey. Millions and millions of copies sold. It's been translated to like tons of languages. So it's a really, really great book. So we teach that course here. We're certified to teach it. And so it's also available online. So you don't have to be physically coming to the 8-hour course. You can also take it online. So you can just ask us for credentials and take it online. You've taken it. So that's foundational. But I will say at the very beginning, what I always tell people is, especially if you're looking for leadership growth, just start with the Supervisor Academy. And once you're done with that, then you can do the Management Academy. And then you're done with that, and you just keep leveling yourself up.
I think something that, and with firefighters, and you guys can agree with me or disagree, that someone might say, well, I'm not at a supervisory level. I'm a firefighter 1, let's say. But we need leaders at every rank. Sometimes leadership and your rank is not always synonymous. There's the informal leaders in our small groups that are making decisions, and just by their actions that are catching the attention and making the company act a certain way and be a certain way that we need out there. So rank
doesn't, I mean, yeah, and you're absolutely right. Informal leadership is just as effective, and sometimes even more effective than the formal leadership. But, and even with that, that's throughout our rank structure. Anybody in the fire service needs to be a leader, or at least a good management of their surroundings. And but we're talking about formal leadership as well. I mean, what about the lead medic? I mean, every rank in our structure, from the very top to the very bottom in the field, has to utilize leadership skills at some point. It doesn't matter the rank. It could be a firefighter 1 who's lead medic on medic 10. It's going to have a lot more leadership decision making sometimes than I will.
And they might be 3 or 4 months out of the academy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, especially in our field, there shouldn't be anybody that says, I'm not going to be able to utilize that leadership. Who am I to take that? You should be taking that right out the box.
There was something that one of our instructors had said one time that really stuck with me, and it was in the course Empower Coach and Honor Staff, and Rene Ramirez is the one who teaches that course, and he said, you may not have authority as a leader, but as an informal leader, you have power. So you have the power to affect the environment around you. Even though you're not an official leader and you don't have that authority, you have the power to influence the people, your coworkers, your peers, the team that surrounds you, and what they feel like when they come into that firehouse.
And leadership is that. So you're talking about, when you're talking about authority and stuff, we're talking about more management. Right. We're doing management, but leadership is really the power to influence.
Yes.
Right. And that has no bearing on rank. I could be a chief, right? And I have no leadership skills. I have no leadership. I'd be managing, right? That's my job, the management. But we're talking about leadership skills here, and that is an influence, power to influence somebody, and that could be anybody in and out there.
Leadership 101.
There it is.
All right.
We talked about tuition reimbursement. I know that maybe we can describe the process. I know you have a video. There's a like a PowerPoint on the website that kind of goes through it. But maybe some people signed up for courses and didn't know they could have. So what would the process be? And then I've also seen something about scholarship opportunities. That was a recent email. And what is that? What does that entail?
Sure. So tuition reimbursement is pretty simple. You go on our website and you just have to get supervisor approval one time. So you fill out the supervisor approval form and then you send it in to us. We file it. The next step is to fill out a request for education assistance. So what we do is we actually keep record of all the requests. And you can request up to a year in advance. So I have people who in 2020 are letting me know that they're going to need
and
money.
so this is done this is done before the class starts.
You can do it before the class starts. Some people do it while the class is going on. But
Sure.
again, I'm not going to guarantee you until you're approved that I'm going to give you the money. So the reason you want to submit your request ahead of time is so that you can get that memo from us saying, okay, you've been pre-approved.
Yes.
If you get an A, B, C, now we will reimburse you.
Okay.
But before that, I may deny you.
And so
Right.
what happens
So is
with
it earmarked?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Is it, so it's earmarked? I mean, 'cause you
I've-
have a
yes,
limited amount
I've
of
put
funds.
the
You
money-
don't have just an unlimited budget.
No, but
with
actually,
that.
you know, the great
Not
thing
yet.
is, I'll tell you, when I first came to work here, we didn't have a great budget, and it wasn't even really being utilized. I mean, I had looked at the records of like 5 years out of how spending of our budget of tuition reimbursement, and we didn't even have that much money in there, and it was only being spent at like 40%. Every year there was money
there
being
wasn't
left
a lot in there,
and I'm
yeah.
thinking, are you kidding me right now? And the last, like 2015, I came in 2014, 2015, we maxed out. But that doesn't mean that people weren't paid out. What that meant is, even though I've encumbered the funds, right, so the money's been put aside, we still have some people who fail a class or they drop
Not
a
everybody
class. Right.
goes through the process
But I
completely
want to
through.
max it out, you know? I don't want to leave anything left, you know? And so that means that, you know, we have to promote tuition reimbursement. So I always tell people, like, even though you may get an email that says you're on a waiting list because we've
Right.
maxed out, and I
Yes.
know that's happening right now.
Yeah.
Please don't see that as you're not going to get your money, because let me tell you, there's people who we put the money aside for and they drop the class or they fail the class or they thought they were going to get $500 but they didn't get an A, they got a C, so they're not getting the full $500. So we're able to adjust as needed. The second reason is because the reason I've been able to increase the tuition reimbursement budget is because I'm able to show proof of the need. And so if people stop submitting their requests, then I'm not able to show, like, we need to fill this gap. Hey, we need more money in the tuition reimbursement budget. Because I'll tell you this, we are only as strong as our weakest links. And so if we are able to help, if somebody raises their hand and says, I want to go back to school and I want to be better for the city of Corpus Christi, and then we're not helping them, like, we're helping ourselves by helping them, right? So
Right.
I can go to bat and I can say, hey, look, I have these 10 employees and they went through classes, they paid for them themselves. I'm just not able to fund them because we've run out help, you know? I'm pretty sure we can figure it out, right? Now, the second thing is the scholarships, which I am so excited about. So one of the goals that we've had is about building strong partnerships with our education partners. So not only do we want our employees to go to get that education, we want to make sure wherever they're going, we're being able to capitalize on the fact that we're sending employees to go to school. So there've been a few institutions that have come along and they've given us actual funding for scholarships. Now, Texas A&M University Corpus Christi has been our strongest partner, and they've been our partner in scholarships for, I would say, like 6 years. And so just this past year, again, we're doing our MPA scholarship, which is a Master's in Public Administration, and we're going to fund your whole year, your whole first year of your Master's in Public Administration. And a master's degree takes about 2 years to complete. So
And you have to
essentially,
do it at A&M, or you can
have
do
to
it
do it at A&M. So all the
but
scholarships
it's paid
are
for.
usually
Yeah.
but it's completely paid for.
And that's
And
great.
actually, so we're in
Yeah.
the funding of
Where
that
were you
right
3
now.
years ago?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I received scholarships every year.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then
So-
in addition to that, because you were an MPA scholarship recipient from the city, they're going to almost not guarantee you, can't say that, but the next second year, they're going to kind of say, hey, you were with us already from the beginning, we're going to give you the rest of the scholarship. Now, on our end,
Wow.
we don't do that. Just recently, we had our Ashford University scholarship that we issued, and we had 2 city employees, and that one, you get up to $15,000 for your education, completely paid for. And the city, what we commit to is your max from education attainment, which is the $5,250 that you can claim as a tax deduction.
Right.
That's what we commit. The rest of it is committed by that university. And so
Wow.
we've been able to build, and that's just one. And so now we have Western Governor University, Texas, has just come on board, 2 scholarships for $2,000. We're not stopping there either. So we're definitely trying to find opportunities where our employees are not paying out of pocket for education, because it takes a lot, right? It takes a lot to go to school. We don't want
Absolutely.
you coming out with all this debt, because then you're going to be in our smart dollar training
Yeah,
all day
trying to
long,
pay
trying to get out of debt
tuition.
because you're college, you know, your student loans.
Yeah.
You can do it. I think we can help you do it. And that's even beyond what other scholarships are available in our community. So there's many different scholarships that we can help you apply for. You need recommendation letters. We'll write those recommendation letters. You need help writing your goal statement, your essays, so that you can get these scholarships. We're here to help do that. So anything that you need, don't use money as an excuse, because that's an excuse.
Well, and then we even have something specific to the fire department with the tuition waiver.
Okay.
So we did.
That's right.
So I mean, we really have no excuse.
There's no
and
excuses.
And it was you guys that mentioned it to me. It's like, why haven't you gone back? Like, you don't have to pay for it.
Well,
so
let me even tell you something else that's going on. So we just are getting ready to partner with. What is it called? Excellence for Educators. It's an organization here in Corpus Christi, and they're the ones who are launching that program, which is Recapturing Your Dream. And because everybody had a dream to get their degree, so our goal is to identify all the city employees who have some college. They never finished, but they have some college credit. So we're working on that. We've identified that. And we know there are a bunch in the fire department, because we know you guys go through the academy. You get a bunch of credits, and some of it will just never finish, right? You just don't have to, but you don't. So we want to identify you guys. And then once we identify them, they're going to be put in touch with what they're calling career advisors. And those career advisors are there to help them each step of the way to help them finish. So essentially, what we don't necessarily have funding for that, and they don't have funding for that, but they're going to be able to find opportunities where those employees who have some college get a support system. So they're not, being kind of thrown around to, go talk to the academic advisors to see your transcripts of when you can graduate. Go and talk to financial aid so you can fill out your FAFSA. They will just have one person who will be their clearinghouse to handle all of that for them. So that's one of the partnerships that we're working on right now to bring to the city. So we're excited.
So the reimbursement from the city itself, though, that's completely funded by the city?
It is, 100%.
And so
it
that's
comes
kind
out
of
of
a
our
benefit
budget.
that anybody could take advantage of, for sure. And just is it a secret, or what is that budget? Like, how much money is actually in tuition?
Nothing's ever a secret.
Yeah.
In the city.
Transparent here.
It's all public record, right?
Yeah.
No, it's a little bit over $75,000.
Wow.
It started off, I'll tell you, when I came, it was 25.
And we weren't even.
I've
We
been
were 40%.
fighting, and we were using 40%.
Yeah.
So I maxed it out, and then I was like, look how many people we could have funded, right? And so every year I've just been trying, and I'll tell you this, I can feel it. I can feel that there's been a difference between when I first started working here and the city employees that are working now. When people come in and they're saying, I want to get my bachelor's and I want to get my master's, that means something. It's not easy to go get these degrees. It's easy to say, yeah, we have a tuition reimbursement budget and no one's using it. Well, how is that helping anything, right? But when I'm telling you we've maxed out and we have people on a waiting list, just think of how many city employees are out there trying to be their best. It just makes me just beam inside, because I'm seeing my fellow city employees and they're just trying to become their best, and that's what we're looking for.
And I think we talked to you before a little bit about it isn't just only about master's degrees or bachelor's degrees or associate's degrees. It could be, not that we don't care about other departments, but we're talking about the fire department.
Yeah.
So, we could potentially have a class brought down here specifically just for the fire department to attend to try to improve fire department skills, or it doesn't have to be credits or anything like that.
So one of the things that we've been really instrumental on, and I think Megan will agree, we like to call ourselves the yes division. If you come to us, if we can't do it, we're going to figure out how to make it happen. So sometimes it's about building partnerships. So for example, I'm pretty sure that whatever training you may want to bring from wherever, that there's other surrounding communities that could benefit from that training as well, right?
Sure.
So there's been some times when we've been trying to figure out how can we fund this, how can we make it happen. Anytime we have more than 10 city employees who want to do something, we're going to figure out how it can come out of our budget. Because our commitment is to try to help everyone become better. So as long as we have 10 people who want to do something that's completely outside of what we are able to do, we're going to figure out how to do it. But even beyond that, you have to imagine, the city of Corpus Christi is such a robust environment where we have so many partners who really are collaborative. And just today, we were just talking with one of our partners, and we were talking about how great it is that we all work well together. A&M, Del Mar, the Workforce Solutions, City of Corpus Christi, Texas A&M Kingsville, we all literally work well together, where we're able to work together, where that we could be able to use our resources together. So it helps with the funding, right? Because everything comes down. Sometimes it comes down to the dollar.
Sure.
Can we afford to bring those people in? Yeah, maybe we can, but maybe we can partner with somebody else who can.
All right.
So you touched on one of the last little topic here, and we'll wrap this up. The future of the Learning Institute. I know you're talking about a new program that you guys are. What else can we expect, or what is the future?
We just had a mini powwow about this, didn't we? Like
Yeah,
we were.
did.
I don't know whether it
We
was a
did.
rant or what it was, but we were like, oh my God, we have so many things we want to do, and we're like, where are we gonna find the time to do it? Because we're managing more than we're leading. I don't know if you get what that means, you know? Like the leadership work is the vision work. The leadership work is going, okay, where are we going? How are we going to get there? The management work is the maintaining. And Megan and I were like, gosh, we've been maintaining for a while and we're ready to lead again. You know, we're ready to we've been maintaining what we built like a long time ago and now we're ready to go to the next level.
It's work.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and we have so many more ideas. So one of the things for sure is improving on our high school internship programs. I know that's something that, you know, we always have to imagine that, you know, as people are retiring, you know, we have to be bringing in the people who are going to see the city of Corpus Christi as an employee of choice. So working with the pathways that have already been built through the school districts, thinking about how can we help our students see the city as an employee of choice. So not only are they thinking, yeah, I want to go to college, but how can I get a job at the city? Like this is, if I go in through this pathway, this is the job I'll get. So that's one thing that we're doing. Another thing that we need to really, I guess, build up is our recognition programs. So that's something that we're working on very closely now, is trying to re-energize that a little bit more so that our employees see recognition as
When
something.
you guys do the Employee of the Quarter, I mean, it's your department that does all of that.
we
And
do
if
all
you've
of
never
that.
been to one of the ceremonies, they're awesome. I mean,
They are
it's usually
awesome.
food.
It's usually a treat.
Yeah.
So if you haven't come,
Yeah.
then you need to come
Yeah.
and get
And
treated.
if you haven't seen our nomination surprises, make sure
Yes.
to follow us on Facebook.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
For our
That's when you
nomination
guys
surprises.
show up.
Yes,
and-
you
Yeah.
show up
Surprise
and surprise
Yeah.
somebody. They get to
Right.
pop their balloon
Yeah.
and it's fun confetti everywhere. It's like
Well, and if you do the supervisor boot camp, you go to one of those ceremonies to get
Yes,
your
exactly,
to receive your certificate. So
Yes,
just so many
yes.
things that just that's I'm glad that you guys were able to take the time to do this with us
awesome.
because there's a lot of things that just our department doesn't know about.
Yes.
And we've kind of stumbled upon, or I've kind of looked at those emails like, what are they talking about? And so then once you kind of research it a little bit more, you
Yeah.
feel like, well, I could have some benefit from this. So I can't thank you all enough.
No.
Well,
One
we're
suggestion,
excited.
a little bit more enthusiasm.
A little bit
And then-
more.
No, no.
Kind of goal.
We'll try. We'll drink some more coffee.
Yeah.
How can anybody in the fire department get a hold of y'all? What city email you want to just say it out there so that they can?
Yeah,
they can.
sure.
they'll-
My email is meganY@cctexas.com.
Okay.
And you can always look me up in Outlook. We're on the second floor of HR at City Hall.
Yep.
Anytime you can find us there. And if you can't find us there, you can call us and we'll be available.
And I always like to say, even if you don't contact Megan, she's going to contact you.
Yeah.
Because Megan sends emails all the time to everyone, right? So I'm pretty
does.
sure everyone knows Megan, so now they know what she looks like.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, and mine is lizaw@cctexas.com. Again, second floor, HR. And then obviously our Learning Institute is learninginstitute@cctexas.com.
And that's where the menu of all the courses
That's
is.
where all the
3,000
courses
courses.
are. You know, and we have another member of our team. I call her our CFO.
Uh-huh.
She's like our data person. She's our analyst. She's really
all the work
literally
behind the scenes.
all the work
That's
behind
like
the scenes.
yeah.
Iranda Chavez. I
Iranda,
mean,
that's right.
honestly, there's times when I mean, we're just going, right? So we
Right.
have so many things going on. We're 3 people on our team. And when we have other cities call us, they're like, what? You only have 3 people on your team? And the work we're doing is beyond. They have 15, and they're not even doing half of what we're doing.
And like 1,000 employees, right?
Yeah, 15 people in training and 1,000 employees, and they're like,
And you're
What?
super responsive.
What?
I don't think I.
Yeah.
well,
I've
you know,
emailed
let me
yet
tell you
where I didn't
something.
get
So
very
one thing we
quickly.
didn't talk about, which is exciting for me, is building algorithms. So I know I studied computer science, and that's what I got my bachelor's in, and so I live this world of how can you not do something twice? And so the only way you do that is if you build if-then statements. And so that's one of the
Matrix.
Yes, yes, I do live in the Matrix. I told you I'm a time traveler. Anyway,
Right
but
now,
the point
it's just
is,
ones and zeros going.
the point is when we have work to do, we always think about if it's something that's reiterative, if we have to do this again, how can we like not do it again? Because we're only 3 of us. And so
Right.
how can we automate our processes?
Super efficient.
And so the reason we're like that is because we figured out how to have automatic emails sent, and it seems like we're the ones doing it. So
Sorry.
yeah, sorry to like
Sorry, not
butt
sorry.
in. Yeah, sorry, not sorry. Yeah, but I think the point is also, so one of the most exciting things I think that's going on is project management here. The city's about to change. So our new city manager, we've had some new leadership come in, and it's really about seeing how can we use the information we already have, which is how do we do things well and how do things not work out well, right? How are projects successful and how are they not? How can we use that information to build algorithms for success. So if somebody gets assigned a project, how can they learn from a successful project on how to make that project move along?
It's like our after actions.
It's like after actions in the fire
Yeah.
service. We do
So,
the same thing.
I have to say, the fire department, police department, you guys already have this down.
Yes.
Even when you're talking about leadership, there's some things to be said about walking on a scene when there's a fire going on and everybody knows what they should be doing. You know what I mean? You guys train for that.
Right.
You're not walking around doing firefighting every second, but you have to train for when the situation happens. You guys are all ready to go. And every person knows what they're supposed to be doing, right? Like I always say, like, the Ferrari, like the races and like the pit stop crew,
Oh,
it takes
yeah.
like
Yeah.
less
Like
than a
super
second for them
efficient.
to like, boom,
Yep.
Every single person needs to know what they're doing. And in a second, it's done. The tires are changed, the guy's back in the race. And we need to operate like that. So that's the next level, I think, is building some sort of strategic management flow so we can re-architect the learning development team to see how we can help you really optimize the work that you're doing.
Wow.
Speaking of project management, you have a project management class coming up in a couple
Yes.
of weeks, which
Project
I did sign
management.
up for. It's actually really good. I recommend
Yes.
that.
I saw the email that you sent.
Yeah, that you sent.
It
yes.
didn't go to the junk.
It didn't go to junk.
Delete.
Automatic.
So no more junking Megan's emails. They're very
Yeah.
important.
And it's free.
Yeah.
Most
So
of all,
there-
it's free.
So you guys
Yes.
know the
Yeah.
emails. You have a
Yes.
face with the name. We have
Learning
no
Institute.
excuses
Or just
anymore.
Google search Learning Institute.
Yeah.
We're like the only one in the nation. So just
Learning
Google search
Institute,
Learning
and then even
Institute.
the coaching. I'm just ideas are just coming. It's like when we have a couple of our levels of promotion that are have assessment, and I mean I think coaching could probably help with that.
Everyone needs a blueprint,
It's like-
right? And so if you want to go from here to there, if you don't have the roadmap, right? You grab a GPS if you want to go on a road trip. Where's your GPS for where you want to go? Where's your development plan? And we'll help you develop that.
You're just kind of floundering around until.
And you may know what you want to do, but it's good to have those milestones so that when you forget, right? And
sure.
things happen, right? I always say everyone's a champion until they get punched in the face, right? So like something happens in your life and you're frustrated, like Megan has her notes, right? You need to have something to fall back on. And so to remind you, remember you made a plan that 2 or 3 years from now, this is where you were going to be. Don't forget.
Oh yeah.
Something happened to veer you away, but don't forget. Come back. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll never forget when I first got on the team, one of my first tasks was to benchmark ourselves against all the surrounding cities in Texas. And I was calling these cities, hey, do y'all have this? All the things that we do, do y'all have that? How many people do you train annually? How much is your budget? How many courses do you offer? And I can tell you, after all my research and findings,
Yeah.
that we are the only ones doing what we are doing in the state of Texas.
Wow.
That's great.
And I think employees get kind of comfy at home and they don't know what they have.
Sure.
But I can tell
there's
you,
a lot of-
after doing that research, it's like you're sitting on a gold mine here.
The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
No.
We were trying to
definitely not.
find some green grass to be like, okay, so who's doing better than us so we can go learn from
Sure,
them?
sure.
Yes.
Can we find it, please?
Can't find it.
Because we
Can't
can't.
find it.
It seems like we're doing
Got
pretty
it
good
right
over
here.
here.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And the sky's the limit. We're not stopping. So we're excited.
Well, I think at the very least, firefighters could contact y'all just to find out what their options are at the very least, even if they don't end up using it.
Yep.
And I just want to thank y'all for coming out here, doing an awesome job for the fire department and the city, and for everything that y'all are doing. I think this
We're
has been
excited.
a very
Always excited.
educational conversation for me, for sure. So.
Anything else to add?
Well, I have more to add.
Ah,
The point is,
Yeah.
the point is,
We-
just the fact that you called us to come and do this speaks volumes. So I think just want to thank you so much because we're always taking our dog and pony show all around trying to tell people what we do. And so you've given us such an outlet, a huge audience for us to be able to touch, right? And let them know that whatever they're struggling with, whatever things that they think that they cannot do, like we're here. Like that's why Megan and I exist. It's to help you just try to be your best. Whatever it is, I'm telling you we have financial classes, okay?
Yes.
There's nothing we can't help you with.
There
So
you go.
please, whatever you're struggling with, whatever you're thinking about right now and you're thinking, I can't do it, I need help, contact us. We're just a phone call away or an email away. Come in and let's talk so we can make things happen for you.
That's awesome. We all need to be our best, and they said it best.
Yep.
And until
You
next
guys
time.
Obviously striving to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Plus one, plus one,
Yes.
plus
That's
one.
right. Ding, ding, ding.
Plus oneing every day.
Every day, carpe diems. Boom.
Thank you so much, and we'll see y'all next time on Shift Change.